The time is 10 a.m. and this is WKYT Mid-Morning. Severe weather slammed the bluegrass overnight. It might have been responsible for an injury accident.
A suspected armed robber on parole for similar crimes is finally in custody again.
And at their convention last night, Democrats lashed out at Donald Trump for his perceived appeal to Russia in the latest email scandal.
This is WKYT Mid-Morning.
Good morning. Here we are between the showers, at least in Lexington right now. And no, I think it is raining again.
I hear it. I know. I was thinking, where do you get that? I hear
A minute ago, it had cleared off for just a bit. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. It's a WKYT First Alert Weather Day. And let's get an updated forecast now from Micah Harris.
Well, you get over the Clays Ferry Bridge, and that is some really heavy rain. Boonesboro Road, work your way back toward Bryantsville and southern portions of Lexington. If you get toward the Athens-Boonesboro region and off towards, say, even Winchester, that's some really heavy rain. But let me show you this. This is the bulk of it right through here, obviously. This line divides where you're going to see the heaviest rain the rest of the day into the afternoon, and that's for this area, east of this line. West of this line, which does include Frankfort, E-Town, portions of Marion County. Marion County has already picked up 3.15 inches since midnight. So hopefully the heaviest rain is long gone for you guys. But look at the waves continue to flow on in. Like I said, the heaviest rain, the bulk of it, the heaviest part of this, not the only rain, but the heaviest, is actually past Lexington now. But Lexington, we're still going to be dealing with some light to moderate showers through the next several hours. We're going to talk about the timing on this. My friends down south, southeast, you're not seeing any rain just yet. For the most part, I'll show you when that arrives coming up.
All right, thank you. As Micah just said, rain pounded several areas of the Commonwealth this morning. It was raining when we came in on that early shift. We had our share of thunder and lightning in central Kentucky.
And the weather apparently was responsible for an injury accident in Lexington. A driver collided with a man in a motorized wheelchair at South Broadway and Gibson Avenue earlier this morning. Police say it could have been weather related because it was raining when that crash happened around 3:30 a.m. The man in the wheelchair was taken to the hospital, but he's expected to be okay. No charges have been filed against the driver.
And despite the loud, wet start to the day, there have been few weather-related problems to report today. Bluegrass Airport with no scheduling issues right now. Kentucky Utilities is reporting only a few outages scattered throughout central Kentucky. You can get the latest forecast and updated weather information on WKYT.com or download the WKYT News app and take the First Alert Defender with you if you're on the go. At the Democratic National Convention last night, delegates were treated to rousing speeches by the president and vice president, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and others.
And one of the overriding themes was Republican candidate Donald Trump and how he appealed to Russia to find missing State Department emails belonging to Hillary Clinton. Hannah Daniels now has the very latest.
Donald Trump's call to enlist foreign help against rival Hillary Clinton set off a political firestorm.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
A reference to emails from Hillary Clinton's non-secured private server while Secretary of State. At a packed Pennsylvania rally, the billionaire businessman says he has no ties to Russia and the DNC email hack.
Trump. I'm sitting there watching, I'm saying, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? I wish I had that power. Man, that would be power.
Democrats took Trump's controversial comments and ran with them on the third night of their convention.
He personally invited Russia to hack us. That's not law and order, that's criminal intent.
Donald Trump, who wants to be president of the United States, is asking one of our adversaries to engage in hacking.
Vice President Joe Biden blasted Trump for his public admiration of Russia's leader.
We cannot elect a man who belittles our closest allies while embracing dictators like Vladimir Putin. No, I mean it.
The Trump campaign responded to the DNC message saying, "Never has a party been so disconnected from what is happening in our world." Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Now, the Clinton campaign released a statement yesterday saying, quote, "This has to be the first time that a major presidential candidate has actively encouraged a foreign power to conduct espionage against his political opponent."
Today, Vice President Biden and Attorney General Loretta Lynch will be speaking at a public vigil honoring the 3 Baton Rouge police officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. The officers were ambushed by a former Marine more than a week ago. The gunman was later killed by SWAT officers. Authorities say today's event will give the community a chance to celebrate the officers' service and sacrifice. The man accused in a string of Lexington robberies that he allegedly committed while out on parole has been captured. Police arrested Kelly Cox at a home near Beaumont Middle School. He is charged with 3 counts of robbery. Within the last week, police say Cox robbed 2 banks and a gas station. He was convicted of robbing one of those same banks back in 2010 and was out of prison on parole at the time of these latest robberies. Cox is to be arraigned today.
Lexington police also arrested Sean Taylor in a separate string of robberies. They say he robbed a bank in April and a different bank last week. He's also accused in an attempted bank robbery. Both robbery suspects will be arraigned this afternoon. Police are still searching for a man accused of robbing a Lexington CVS store at gunpoint. It happened around 9 at the CVS on Old Tots Road. Police say a man brought some merchandise to the counter and acted like he was buying it. But when the clerk opened the register, the thief pulled out a gun and demanded money. He then ran off with some money. Police say the suspect is a white man, about 5'6" and weighing about 140 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, olive-colored shorts, and a black hat. Well, police and SWAT teams surrounded a gun shop in Louisville earlier today after someone drove a truck through the store.
And a robot later determined that nobody was inside and the suspect is still on the run. This after the very same thing happened at another gun store in Louisville yesterday. A giant hole is what's left to the front door at Tilford's Discount Guns in the Jeffersontown area of Louisville. Police say the suspects yesterday used a stolen Corvette to ram the door and make their entrance, causing thousands of dollars in damage. By the time police got there, the suspects already had made off with thousands of dollars worth of guns.
I think that was kind of crazy to me. Why would you use a Corvette for one? Why wouldn't you use a bigger truck or something?
The owners say the damage is worth between $5,000 and $10,000. They don't yet know if any cash or firearms were stolen at the second site this morning. Well, a Central Kentucky man ended up in jail after a flight from Lexington to Charlotte.
Michael Kerr is charged with interference with the duties of a flight crew member or flight attendant, along with assault and communicating threats. Investigators say Kerr caused a disturbance on an American Airlines flight last week. A passenger on the plane took this eyewitness video. Police say Kerr got out of his seat and threatened to break a flight attendant's jaw when he was asked to return to his seat. Police say he also kicked and shoved the flight crew before having to be physically restrained. They say Kerr was believed to be intoxicated during the flight. A Mercer County mother is on a mission for her disabled daughter. Crimson Claycomb already has raised $37,000 to build a special needs playground, but she still needs more than $200,000. She says special needs playgrounds are more expensive than others because they require specialized equipment. Claycomb has set up a GoFundMe page to help raise funds. She says there will also be a fundraiser on Main Street in Harrodsburg October 8th. A Lexington family will soon have a new home, all thanks to volunteers.
Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe is working with Habitat for Humanity to build the home for the Kabuti family on Millbank Road. Yesterday, volunteers raised the walls on the new home. The family came to Kentucky 5 years ago, and they say they have dreamed of owning their own home since then.
It's really nice of them to come up here and help us, and even though they have stuff to do probably, but it takes the time.
The family says the new home is expected to be move-in ready by October. Probably need a little better weather than today to complete it.
A lot of people working to make that happen.
Oh,
it's great
to
see.
Good story.
Well, keep it right here this mid-morning. We'll take you to New Zealand, where some performers of vintage age are still getting it done.
They have the moves, and the return of one of television's most popular mother-daughter combinations is on the way.
Waves of heavy rain continue to funnel into the region, but it's slowly but surely inching eastbound. I'm going to show you when it actually makes its way into the southeastern zones and when it's done with the western zones. That's coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Well, it's looking pretty rainy outside early this morning. We started off early in the morning. It was really overnight into the early morning hours. Since midnight, areas back toward the BG Parkway, and they go down 68. So Marion County, Washington, Nelson, you guys have picked up 1 to 3 inches of rain in those spots. 1 to 3 inches, and even Marion County coming in at 3.15 since midnight. The good news here is the bulk of the rain, heaviest part of the rain, not all of it, but the heaviest part is now by you guys. So now you're going to be dealing with some light showers, some moderate pieces here and there, but some really heavy downpours stretching from Winchester there and Clark County. Work your way down toward Richmond and go off towards, say, 75, Clays Ferry Bridge, going into Fayette County. It is a very wet go at it. That's some heavy rain right there. That's one you just need to watch. Here comes Winchester. Here it comes there, Mount Sterling. Winchester in the next 5 minutes, the heaviest part. And then you work your way off toward Mount Sterling. I'd say in about 15 minutes, you're going to get extremely heavy rain with some lightning embedded in that. And then you work your way down toward Lancaster, Bryantsville, go down towards Stanford, Crab Orchard, those areas, very wet too. And if you're not seeing rain just yet, Mountain Parkway, portions of that. Hal Rogers Parkway, it's coming. It's just slowly coming, but this is some really heavy rain. Southern portions of Clark County heading toward Montgomery County. Camargo, Jeffersonville, Mount Sterling heads up next 15 to 20 minutes or so. Work your way back toward the west, southwest. This is an area that has been hit by rain after rain all morning long. And like I said, 1 to 3 inches in this section. The good news here is it's slowly inching over toward the east. Somerset, you're going to get bits and pieces here and there, but the bulk of it actually slides in about 2 to 3 hours. So you still got a little bit of time. But going through the day, here's the look and the outlook of that. Noon to about 5 p.m., really heavy rain across the area, and it'll slowly work its way from west to east. And then once we get to the evening, so about 6, I'd say more like 5 to about 8 p.m., you'll actually see it start to dissipate and move out of the region during that time. So during that time, heading out to eat, you're going to Lexington Restaurant Week, you're trying to make some plans for dinner, go get the kids from somewhere. Just know this, during that time, most of that's trying to fade on away. You'll still have a hit and miss shower, but for the most part, the heaviest rain actually slides on out of here. And just looking at across the region, everything looks good there on the roads, but the roads are soaked, especially 75 coming out of Madison County into Fayette County. Right now, there's some extremely heavy rain. Just keep that in mind.
I think you can just count on it.
That's right. Slow up out there.
Well, some retirees are proving there is no age limit on becoming an internet sensation.
These New Zealand retirees went viral for their own remake of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off music video. Let's check it out. The spoof is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the video, and according to the YouTube post, 50 residents from the community took part. Instead of Swift's 80s throwback style, though, you have people in their 80s throwing back in style. That video has received an amazingly positive response online. Few exceptions, of course, but as the song says, they're always going to have haters who are going to hate, right?
Nobody could hate them. What a great group and a lot of fun.
That is.
Just having a good time. Well, a hip-hop pioneer reveals his role in the coming Netflix series, The Get Down. And a setback for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Chris Martinez has your eye on entertainment.
Right? Let's not talk about it. HBO has canceled Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's Project Greenlight. The show followed contestants as they competed for their big break making an independent film. Damon says he thinks Project Greenlight will be picked up by Amazon or Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, the excitement is building for The Get Down.
What's The Get Down?
The new series traces the rise of hip-hop music. The legendary Grandmaster Flash remembers getting the call to work on the project from director Baz Luhrmann.
This is Flash, when you became a star and making the records and all that kind of stuff, I'm not interested in those years. He says, I'm interested in them years before then, the organic years.
The first 6 episodes of The Get Down premiere August 12th on Netflix.
Do you think John Oliver would find me hot?
And the wait is over. The reboot for Gilmore Girls is announced. A Year in the Life features almost all of the original cast. Netflix will start airing the 4 new episodes beginning November 25th. That's your eye on entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Coming right up, can you believe it? It's back to school time already.
We're talking back to school safety next on WKYT. And tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot is now $20 million. And after no winners last night, Saturday's Powerball is now $478 million.
Welcome back in. It's mid-morning on WKYT with some rain out there today, certainly. Back to school time right around the corner, and the hustle and bustle brings with it heavier traffic and busier streets.
Sherelle Roberts, Lexington Police Public Information Officer, is here with some school time safety tips to remember, important things to remember. Thank you very much for coming out here.
Thank you all for having us here. Can you believe it? Some kids are going back to school next week.
Right.
Pretty crazy,
I'm not
isn't
sure
it?
if they're ready, but I know the parents are ready.
Well, time is ticking. It's going to happen. And you were telling us earlier, it's amazing the number of collisions that happen in these school zones.
It really is amazing. Last year alone in Lexington, we had 269 collisions either in the school zone or right near it. 9 of those involved school buses. And we actually had a situation where thankfully they survived, but we had a school guard who was hit. So we really want people to slow down in these school zones, to pay attention. When these kids are out there, they're just out there having fun. They're on their way to school. They're not thinking about traffic. And so we as adults have to be thinking for them and watching out for them.
Well, and this year, some people are probably going to have to be on alert that there are some new schools opening as well.
That's right. So we're going to have a lot of extra traffic on the road. We've all been getting used to driving and not having to worry about the school buses and extra cars, but we will, and particularly in 2 areas. We have Garrett Morgan Elementary, which is near Polo Club, and that's going to be opening. And then we have Coventry Oak Elementary, which is down Georgetown Street. And so we want people to be aware in those areas. And for parents, if you're dropping off your kids at those schools, it's going to take a little extra time, especially in the first couple of days when they're getting used to it. But make sure you've got a plan, and maybe they even practice hopping out of the car quickly and safely.
Speaking of safety, you said there are also some other concerns about children as they make their way to school that you wanted to remind people about.
Absolutely. So the first is getting ready to get on the school bus. We want the kids to remember that they shouldn't be standing too close to the street or even lining up along the street. My heart nearly stops when I see that. Kids were just too close. Line up away from the street. Also, wait till the bus stops and the bus driver says it's okay to get on. For drivers, when that sign is out on that school bus, you want to make sure that you stop. Don't pass that school bus and don't come the other way. It is against the law, and you can be arrested for it. So we want folks to remember that.
They have to remember that part of it. And it may be, it may look nice to put names and initials on things, but probably not a good idea.
Exactly. You don't want to be putting your child's name on their clothing or their book bag. And that's simply because a stranger could approach them and pretend to be someone who cares for them, a family friend, and take them away. If you do have a situation where your kids have to be picked up by a stranger, an aunt or an uncle, somebody like that, have a safety word that only the kid knows. So that person must tell the child that word so that they can go with them safely.
All right, good info.
Good reminder.
Sherelle Roberts with Lexington
Thank you.
Police. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And keep it right here this mid-morning.
We'll check in with the Mr. Food Test Kitchen next and see what's cooking up.
Oh boy, today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, they're making 5 napkin burgers.
And you know, they're so good and so messy, you want to roll up your sleeves and get those napkins ready.
We're smack dab in the middle of summer, which means it's big burger season. Did you know that Americans eat billions of burgers every year? And while I've had my share of great ones, we recently came up with one that I think is the juiciest and tastiest burger ever. Let me show you. All we do is add some diced cheddar cheese, a bit of crumbled bacon, a couple of shakes of Worcestershire sauce, a splash of water, and a few off-the-shelf spices to some ground chuck. You want to make sure you don't use too lean of a ground beef or your burgers will end up dry. Once it's gently mixed, we shape it into patties. And here's what I like to do. Make a dimple in the center of each burger so when they cook, they don't puff up. Now we can cook these inside on a skillet or grill pan or outside on the grill like we're doing today, which gives them a nice smoky flavor. And although you'll be tempted, don't press down on them with a spatula or you'll squeeze all the juices out of them. And no matter how many other burgers you've had this year, none will be juicier or tastier than these. Just make sure you have plenty of napkins on hand because you're going to need them. So go online and get the recipe for what we call 5 napkin burgers so you can have the best burgers on the block. I'm Howard from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found the juiciest way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Might be a day or two before we can get out there and grill again, right?
It may be, yeah. You'll be able to do it tomorrow and off into the weekend. You might have to dodge a shower or thunderstorm like Bill was talking about. But today, yeah, it's almost impossible right now in central, north, and western zones. Now, you get up toward the east, southeast, it's still dry right now. But, guys, that will change in the time to come because we'll start to see more rain move off into the region as we track off into the afternoon. I would say 5 to 8 p.m. is when you start to see it track east. And so western zones, central zones, including Lexington, around 5 to 8 is when you start to dry on out. East and southeast, it might be a little bit after that. But it doesn't look like a completely all-day thing. It's just most of the day, very heavy rain continues to track eastbound. And that's the way it's going to go. The heaviest rain right now, the heaviest, the bulk of this system is now past Lexington. However, Lexington, still some light to moderate showers next few hours, and that goes for the western zones, too.
There's not much getting around it.
We know it now.
It's not.
Thank you for joining us for WKYT's Mid-Morning. We hope to see you right back here at noon. We'll update the news and the latest weather.
The Bold and the Beautiful is next here on CBS. Make it a great day.